YouTube Dog Nation, what's up? This is Josh with the Governor's Bulldogs. It is a Monday night, and we have made it to Florida week here, closing out October here soon. So, kind of wanted to start out this video, kind of, recapping a little bit of what we talked about in the last video, kind of where Georgia's at right now in the season. We'll hit on Florida a little bit there at the end. But really just wanted to kind of recap, where Georgia sits right now, how we're looking. Same thing we do in the majority of these videos. You know what I mean? A few positives, a few negatives. What's looking good and what Georgia has to work on looking forward. And I can't believe we're already down to the final 5 games of the season. It's going way too fast. But like we've talked about in previous videos, man, Georgia, all their goals are still in front of them. Like, this team controls their own destiny. I think if Georgia wins the rest of their games, I think they could end up in the SEC championship. And obviously the playoff, the national championship, all that is still out in front of Georgia. And one thing that I'll agree with Kirby on, as long as Georgia continues to get better week after week and continues to improve, they're going to have a shot at the end. Now, we got to be healthy, and I think the most important part of the team that needs to stay healthy is obviously, after we saw the Ole Miss game, the offensive line. Like, for the first time, we had a healthy offensive line, and we saw the offense respond and have their best game of the season. So let's get into this, because there's a lot I want to talk about. We'll start with the positives first. So the main thing that I really thought about reflecting on the season, going all the way back to the Marshall game, like, going into this season, there was a lot of questions about Gunnar Stockton and how good he would be. And I think that Gunnar Stockton has been a strength on this team. I think that Gunnar Stockton is a weapon for our offense. Like, having to account for his run game is going to give teams problems going forward. Now, he's got to get down. He's got to finish out the season healthy. But I have seen so much improvement from Gunnar from the Marshall game all the way up to the Ole Miss game. Like, if you go back and you watch the Marshall game and you look at the amount of downfield throws that Gunnar turned down, it had to be probably 8, 9, 10 of them that he turned down. And you go back and you watch the Ole Miss game, there was only 2 throws that he turned down. So he's getting more comfortable throwing into tight windows, getting more confidence. He's taking shots. He's letting the ball rip, and he's getting more comfortable. All these teams are trying to play zone against him, and he's getting more comfortable throwing into windows into that zone coverage. So, and then running the ball. Like, this is, I'm going to be honest with you guys. Like, last year in the Texas and Notre Dame games, like, watching him run, he didn't look like the fastest, most athletic guy. Like, I never thought, like, Gunnar was going to be one of these guys that's going to run away from people and make people miss. But as we saw in the Ole Miss game, when Gunnar put that move on that guy on the quarterback read, like, there was a guy that was there assigned to the quarterback to tackle Gunnar. Gunnar makes him miss and then runs by 2 other defenders. Like, he's got a little bit more wiggle and a little bit more speed than I originally anticipated. Like, that touchdown where he ran it in looked a lot like Stetson Bennett running away from guys in the Auburn game. And what year was that? That was 2022. When Stetson was just running away from Auburn's defenders. It looked real similar to that. So Gunnar is continuing to get better, continuing to get confidence. Like, he's been a strength for this team, man. Like, he puts us in position to win. He always makes a positive play, doesn't take a lot of sacks. And with a healthy O-line in front of him, he looked confident and threw the ball downfield with confidence. We finally started hitting our tight ends over the middle in the Ole Miss game. Chauncey Bowens, Nate Frazier, Josh McCray, like, these guys have been looking good running the football. A healthy Chauncey Bowens going forward is really going to help this team. But while he hasn't been healthy the past 2 games, I really think that Nate Frazier has stepped up and redeemed himself from the fumble in the Alabama game. Nate's been having some big-time carries for us in big-time moments. Same thing with Josh McCray. Like, going back to the last video when we talked about in the Ole Miss game, like, what if Josh McCray doesn't get that 4th and 2 with the second effort at midfield? That game could have turned out totally different. And Lane Kiffin even talked about that in his post-game presser, like, what a big moment that was in the game for Georgia to be able to extend that drive and keep that drive going because of Josh McCray's second effort, ability to keep his balance, keep his feet moving, and to break tackles like that. Josh McCray, Kirby Smart hit on that one in the portal. Like, he came in with an assigned task and with a vision. The coaching staff had a vision for what they wanted to see out of this guy in short yardage, and he has already paid dividends for Georgia out of the portal. And Nate, like, nobody's been harder on Nate. Well, there have been some people. But I've been hard on Nate, with the ball security thing and comparing him to people like Todd Gurley and DeAndre Swift and stuff like that. Like, he's not that, clearly. I think everybody kind of realized at this point, like, he's not that top tier level of elite Georgia running back. But, man, like, with Bowens being hurt, like, Nate, the past 2 games, has stepped up in crucial moments. He's held on to the ball. He's fell forward and got positive yards. His vision seems like it's gotten a little bit better to me. He's hitting the hole, and he's running with some authority, man. He's running hard. Love to see it, because we're really going to need that going forward. All 3 of these running backs we're going to need going forward. And I'm not counting Cash Jones out, but there's a time and a place for Cash Jones. And Cash Jones doesn't need to be in the red zone ahead of some of these scholarship running backs for 2-3 plays in a row. He just doesn't. If we're going to line him up in the backfield and somehow use him in the passing game, I'm all for that, because he has been a weapon and he has won games for us doing that in the past. But he doesn't need to be getting carries and snaps over these other scholarship running backs, and that's just my opinion. You can disagree, you can agree, whatever. That's just my opinion, though. I think we need to see these other 3 guys that I just talked about. But Cash does have a role in this team, so not writing him off totally. The offensive line. Listen, going into this season on this channel, what I talked about was not my number one concern, my number one worry going into the season was the health of the offensive line, specifically the 2 tackles, Monroe Freeling and Ernest Green. That was my biggest concern going into this season. And my number one hope and wish for the season was that Georgia's starting 5 offensive linemen could play healthy, could play together, and could hit their stride going into the second half of the season and be a cohesive unit and be experienced, have lots of SEC experience playing together as an O-line, getting into the second half, late into the season, into the SEC championship and the playoff. So my biggest fear came true. Like, Georgia was not healthy at the tackle spots for the majority of this season so far. And it hurt us. Like, it hurt the offense. Like, clearly Gunner was not able to stand back there and pick defenses apart, was not comfortable standing back there for large stretches of multiple games all throughout this season. But we saw the offensive line by far and away played their best game against Ole Miss. And a lot of that has to do with the health of Ernest Green coming in and stabilizing that right tackle spot. Monroe has been unbelievable at left tackle. How he was able to play in that Auburn game hurt, I don't know, but he came in and stabilized the line for the Auburn game and was able to allow us to at least get some offense going in the second half of the Auburn game. Really saved that game for us. Like, what if he doesn't come in? Like, we were looking bad in that game, guys. Terrible. So the offensive line at this point, as far as I can see, is as healthy as it's been all season long. That's a positive. Like, that's something that's going to be huge for us. Now, can they stay healthy? The thing that worries me is I think that the Ernest Green thing is a back spasm thing. We already saw how that played out with Ladd McConkey. Like, sometimes he was able to go and he was there and he was great, and then sometimes he just wasn't, and he was just never able to really tell when he was going to be available in that 2023 season. So I don't know how similar of an injury it is to his, but the offensive line is totally different with Ernest Green, a healthy Ernest Green at that right tackle spot. And being able to rotate in Juan Gaston, man, just allows us to do so many things, allows us to stay fresh, allows our run game to keep hitting chunk plays later in games as we wear these guys down. And, of course, big salute to Dontrell Glover playing the right guard spot, like, as a true freshman, man, like, has given us so much this season. Drew Bobo's been playing big. Just all these guys, man, on the O-line. Like, if these guys can play together and play healthy going into the back half of this season and get some experience together and stay fresh, like, I think that's going to be huge for us, guys. Huge. Like, we've got some challenges yet still out here. The Florida game's going to be a big challenge. Like, with whatever happened with Florida this season, like, the one thing, if you've watched their games, Florida has got a talented, capable defense. They have got speed. They have got size. They can take the ball away. Like, Florida can do a lot on defense that's going to be able to keep them in games. So the health of the Georgia offensive line is going to be huge in this Florida game. Like, we have got to lean on our run game we've got to be able to protect Gunner. So a healthy O-line, like, man, that's still, like, preseason, that was a big determining factor of how our season was going to go for me. And now that we're 7 games through the season, we got 5 remaining, still is the number one point of emphasis for me. The health of the Georgia offensive line is going to determine how this season is going to go. So we got to stay healthy. We got to stay healthy. We got to play well. We got to play together. I'm telling, if I said this in the last video, if we can play on the O-line like how we played against Ole Miss, against everybody else, we will not lose another game in the regular season. We won't. But if we play like we did in the first half against Auburn, or we're not healthy, then we're going to have problems and we're going to struggle and we're going to allow other teams to be in games. And that's just it. Tight ends got involved in the Ole Miss game. They need to stay involved. Like, Gunner looks like he's getting more comfortable being able to throw the ball over the middle into zone coverage. We have got to use these tight ends, especially now that Colby Young's out for the season. We've got to see the tight ends more. We've got to see Noah Thomas more. Noah Thomas has got to be more involved in this offense. 6'5", Texas A&M's leading wide receiver last season. With Colby out, we've got to find a way to get him in there and get him the ball. Especially down in the red zone. Like, we've got to get more return on our investment for that player. All right, so that's kind of everything on the offensive side of the ball, and that's a lot of positives there. And now there's some negatives, and most of that falls on the defensive side of the ball. So let's just go ahead and get into this, man. And this is one thing that I do not see changing late into the season. We just don't have the guys. But one thing that really sticks out to me, the main thing that sticks out to me on this defense, is we have zero, and I mean zero, pass rush or ability to sack the quarterback on this team. And I don't see that changing this season. We just don't have the personnel. We don't have the players on the edge that are going to be able to just turn it on and get this done. Like, there might be some guys, like Chris Cole might get a little bit better at rushing the passer. Maybe Josh Horton can step into more of a role. I mean, we saw a flash from him late in the Ole Miss game. But there's nobody that sticks out to me on this team or that's injured that's going to be coming back from injury where I can say, well, it's just this one guy's been hurt, and now when he comes back, I think we'll be able to just formulate a pass rush later in the season. Like, I just don't see it. I just don't see it. And that's killing us in the secondary. And that gets into my second point. On the negative side here, is the secondary is still young, and they're still beatable against elite receivers and elite quarterbacks. Now, we're not going to see that this weekend against Florida, but, the SEC championship worries me. I'm not worried about, Arch Manning throwing the ball, but against Mississippi State, a good passing offense. That worries me. Like, we've got to find a way to get pressure on the quarterback and get him on the ground. Like, I don't know if that's bringing Raylan Wilson and C.J. Allen up the middle more on linebacker blitzes, but we got to do something. Like, we can't just give these quarterbacks all day to sit back there and pick us apart. Like, this is something Kirby Smart, Glenn Schumann, and the defensive staff have got to figure out the second half of this season. Listen, man, I'm just going to be honest with you guys. This leads me to the last point. Like, just something tells me that if Georgia gets into the SEC championship, just something is telling me, and there's a chance we might not get in. But if we do get in, and this is the last little bullet point I've got on the negatives here. Guys, we cannot beat Alabama. And I hate to keep bringing this up again and again and again because I know it's a sore subject. But it's just something I got to be real with you guys about. Like, if we were to get matched up with Bama again in the SEC championship, I don't see us winning that game. And I hate to be negative, and I hate to bring up this point again and again and again, but for someone that says, yes, we can, like, I can show you 10 out of the last 11 games we played against them that say we can't. And it's not even the final result. As much as it is, like, the way that we play in these games against them. And what I'm saying is, like, if you look at the way that Georgia played against Ole Miss, you look at the way that Georgia played against Auburn. Great example. We were down at half again. We were down at half against Ole Miss. What's another example? Tennessee. We were down at half. You take those 3 games. There was never a moment in those games where I felt like Georgia thought in their minds that they weren't going to win. Like just the body language, the way that we called plays, the way that we executed on offense. Like in no point in any of those 3 games did I think that Georgia ever looked defeated out there on the field. And every time I watch us play Alabama, there's just something off. And I know the majority of you guys are going to agree with me, and you can see that. Something is off when we play Bama, and it's a mental thing at this point. It's just time and time again, I watch us play this team. It looks like we're playing on our heels on defense. We don't execute well. We drop balls, miss assignments on off. It's just we play tight. They always find a way to have us on our heels. And it looks like Georgia's always waiting on the play to come to them when we play Bama. We're letting the ball carrier come to us before we make the tackle. We don't attack. We don't play confident. We don't play fast and free like we do against these other teams. And this is beyond a frustration for all of Dog Nation. But I just do not, like, until I see Georgia beat Bama, I'm not going to be able to pick Georgia to beat Alabama. It's a mental thing. And it's time after time, again, I watch us go out against this team and play them differently than we play every other team. So until I see us rectify that and change that and get the W on the field, it's something that really worries me. So of course I want to play in the SEC championship, and of course I want to win the game. But there's a chance that A&M's, unless I see same thing with A&M. I have no confidence in A&M to win out and go undefeated until I see them do it. I know this is a different coaching staff. I know this is year 2 of Mike Elko, but until I see him do it, I don't know. But there's a chance that A&M's going to win out and that Bama's going to win out. And those two are going to go to the SEC championship because Bama's going to have the tiebreaker over Georgia. So there's a chance that this might not even happen. If A&M drops one, I don't know how they figure out that 3-way tie or whatever. But we got to handle business with the rest of our SEC games. We've got Florida. We've got Mississippi State. We've got Texas. And that's it, right, for the SEC? I think so. Florida, Mississippi State, Texas, Charlotte, Georgia Tech. So we got 3 SEC games left. You got to handle business in those games. We're going to talk about Florida last. Texas, I feel good about the Texas game. 1, because it's at home. 2, Arch Manning's been a freaking disaster this season. And everybody who said that he was as good as Tim Tebow or Joe Burrow or any of that, how he was the second coming of Joe Burrow, like, you guys owe us an apology. Like, you guys are supposed to be professional media members, and you could have not gotten the Arch Manning analysis more wrong. Could not have got it more wrong. Gunnar Stockton is blowing Arch Manning out of the water. He is so much a better quarterback than Arch Manning. And how Gunnar didn't get credit for the games that he played in last season, because he started more games last year than Arch. But somehow Arch Manning gets all this preseason hype, and he never did anything against anybody last season. Dude has looked like an absolute dumpster fire this season. Now, he showed some improvements against Mississippi State, and I'm not saying he can't get better before the Georgia game. But the national media and SEC network got that wrong. They got that wrong. He is not what they said he was going to be, which is fine, and it's not even his fault. But that was unbelievable this offseason with Arch Manning. So Texas's offense has struggled. They do have a legit defense. And again, like with all of these games, it's like which version of Georgia is going to show up. Like if the good, healthy, dialed-in version of Georgia shows up that's going to come out and execute at home and light up the scoreboard, and we have a healthy O-line and we're able to control the line of scrimmage and run the ball, and we don't do anything dumb or come out flat or any of that BS, then I like Georgia's odds against Texas. And it's that same thing with every single game. Like this Florida game, dude, you got to come out and dominate and crack these boys in the mouth from the time they blow the whistle, from the very first time that we kick the ball off. Like, we got to go down there and set the tone and show them, like, hey, we are the better team. And we're coming out down here to not only win this game, but to blow you out in this rivalry game. Like, I have no sympathy for Florida right now while they're down. I've watched too many games where Florida has caused all of Bulldog Nation pain. in Jacksonville to feel that way. Like, Florida's down right now. They just fired their coach. They got an interim. Good. Go down there and put a whooping on these boys, 42-10. And just steamroll Florida and show that you are one of the best college football programs in college football. Like, Georgia needs to come out in this Florida game, man, and make a statement. Like, I don't want to see any. Let's just go ahead and get into this. The Florida game. Play our game and run the ball. And throw with confidence over the middle. We started using our tight ends in the Ole Miss game. That needs to continue in this game. Like, there's going to be holes in this zone coverage for this Florida team. We haven't showed a lot out of our tight ends to this point in the season. Like, now's the time to turn it on. Like, in the Ole Miss game, guys, we were clicking. I expect that to be continued upon in this Florida game. We've got to use the tight ends. We've got to control the line of scrimmage and run the ball. And I'm not going to break any news here with the rest of these points. Like, I want to see Georgia play with the lead from start to finish. Run the ball, control the clock, hold the ball in the time of possession, and wear these boys down with a healthy O-line. Hit your shots in the zone defense in the passing game when your opportunity comes. Make a play and catch the daggone football. And that's another thing I missed. I missed and I want to go back to. This season, as far as in the positive notes, this season the wide receivers have been making plays and catching the ball for the most part. Like, we had the one drop by Talon Taylor that killed us against Alabama. He catches that ball. Right now, we might be undefeated. But we didn't catch the ball. We didn't execute. So we're not undefeated. We lost to Bama again. But the wide receivers is a massive upgrade from what we were last season. Because last season was a freaking embarrassment from Georgia. I could not believe what I witnessed last season with them drop passes. So play with the lead in the Florida game. And just the same stuff, guys, to win every single game. Like, this isn't just for the Florida game, but, I mean, it just comes up in my mind, like, we're the better team. So how's Florida going to be able to stay in this game? They would be able to stay in this game with turnovers, penalties, muff punts. Like, no, don't give them nothing. Georgia's the better team. You should be able to control this game from start to finish. But no turnovers, no bad turnovers, no fumbles. Nate Frazier, hold on to the ball. No muff punts or any short fields, anything like that. And no penalties. No procedure penalties. If we get a pass interference here and there, I can live with that. But no dumb penalties. No unsportsmanlike or anything like that. Like the composure thing that Kirby always talks about. Composure, composure, composure. Be composed in this game. Be the smarter football team. Wear these boys down and run the ball. Run the ball down their face. And play with more intensity. Like, you guys have got everything to play for in this game. Like, come out here and prove it. Like, the rest of the season is out there for the taking. The SEC championship, if we control what we control, we win the rest of our games, there's a high chance we could end up in this game. Georgia's got to go take it, though. Like, just like how I talked about when Georgia plays Bama, it looks like we let the game come to us. We don't attack. We can't do that with the remainder of this schedule, guys. Like, we got to come out here and attack. Fast, physical starts and set the tone. Like, Georgia's got to go take this. It's not going to be given to them. Man, really, like, to be honest with you guys, like, man, I don't want to see any of these games be close. Like, the only way I feel like these games are close, the rest of these games, the Florida game, the Mississippi State game, the Texas game, the Charlotte game, the Georgia Tech game. Like, Georgia should be favored. And I don't care about the spread or anything like that. I'm just saying Georgia's the better team in all of these games. How does Georgia lose any of these games? It's, coming out flat, slow starts, turnovers, penalties, not executing, not catching the ball when it's thrown your way. I don't want to see none of that. Like, we're on the back five. We are on the final half of this season, guys. We're wrapping up SEC play here. We got 3 SEC games left. Like, this should be a refined football team from this point forward. Like, we took a step forward in the Ole Miss game. I don't want to see us go back to anything like I saw in the first half against Auburn. The whole not executing, missing blocks, and getting beat for deep balls like we did in the Tennessee game, like that's got to be in the past. Like, I want to see Georgia improve every single game going forward. And if we don't make the SEC championship, like, man, of course I want to play in that game and I want to win it, but it's not the worst thing in the world to let Alabama and Texas A&M slug it out in that game. Meanwhile, we get to practice and prepare for whatever playoff game we're going to end up in. Not the worst thing in the world. Like, man, guys, to be honest with you, like I'm not ever one to like duck any smoke or any team. But I don't see us beating Alabama. Like, it's not the worst thing in the world. And you can say whatever you want about that. Like, look at the last 11 games against them. Like, I just don't want to relive that again. Like, I just don't feel confident we could beat them. And that's the only team I don't feel confident that we would beat. Like, Texas A&M and their quarterback scares me a little bit. But I think Georgia, that's a winnable game for us. Ohio State's got a really good, really talented team. That one worries me a bit too. I don't know how I would feel about Georgia going into that game. But, I mean, if we keep getting better and we played like how we played against Ole Miss on offense, we can beat anybody. It's just a matter of, man, Georgia's got to show up, like, mentally focused and dominate these games. Like, and if we can do that and we can keep getting better, the sky's the limit, guys. It really is. The health of the O-line is going to determine, I think, how the rest of this season goes. The last note that I got for the Florida game, of course, score touchdowns in the red zone. Like, you get inside the 20, put 7 on the board. Like, we can't be settling for field goals. That's pretty much it, guys. Like, I just kind of wanted to recap on what we talked about last week. But the rest of this season, like, it's up to Georgia. Like, we're not dependent on anybody else for anything. The SEC championship, that's a strange subject. It really is. Maybe Bama could drop. They ain't going to drop two. But if Bama drops one, they're still going to be in because they got the tiebreaker over us. But I don't know, man. Like, something just tells me, like, how last season ended up, how nobody thought Georgia was going to the SEC championship. Then everything got shook up in that last week, in them last couple of weeks with Ole Miss losing to Florida. Anything could happen. Like, if we win out, there's a high chance we might end up in Atlanta. So we'll just have to see. We'll just have to see how this turns out. But if Georgia keeps getting better, does what they're supposed to do, comes out and plays intense and dominates these games, continues improving, all our goals are still ahead of us, man. So Georgia's got to handle business. Like, control what you can control. Take it 1 week at a time. The objective this week is to go out here and not just win, but to dominate your rival. This is the last game in Jacksonville for a while, thank God. I wish they would just do away with Jacksonville, man. I know some traditional Georgia fans don't feel this way, but college games should be played on college campuses. Florida should have to come see us in our house, and we should have to go play in the swamp and experience a road game down there. That college game should be played on college campuses. I don't know why that's complicated or controversial at all. There was one thing I missed. Quick story, I guess, for you guys. The favorite Florida game from me, Georgia-Florida game from me. So I would have to say for me, it was the 2012 Georgia-Florida game. And the reason that was, I think Georgia was ranked 11 at the time. We had a loss to South Carolina. And I think Florida was either had one loss or was undefeated. But no, they were undefeated. They were undefeated, yeah, because they were number 2 in the country under Will Muschamp. And just how big of a game that felt like added a lot to that. Georgia was really looked down on and, kind of looked over like it was expected that Florida was going to come in here and roll in this game. I think the majority of people picked Florida to win that game. There was a lot of hope, from Georgia. Like, we knew we had a talented ball club. And going into that 2012 game, like, something just told me, like, Georgia's going to go down here and put up a good fight and make this game. They got a good chance to win it. Like, I wasn't terrified of Florida or anything like that going into the 2012 game. And, I mean, what else can you say besides Jarvis Jones just goes crazy and takes over this game? And there was a lot of turnovers and everything like that. But the moment where, all the Jarvis Jones plays, sacking the quarterback, forcing turnovers was huge. Obviously, that sticks out. And then the touchdown from Aaron Murray to Malcolm Mitchell late in that game, the emotion that Malcolm Mitchell, I mean, he just went crazy when he got in the end zone. But just like how much that meant to the Georgia players and for us to be able to steal that game away late. And then who was that? Was it Ogletree, number 9, that forced the turnover, the Florida fumble late in the end zone? We recovered. I think it was Alec Ogletree, number 9. But just the way that ended and how Georgia just steals away that game from Florida late in the game just was a fantastic game. Georgia comes out on top, punches their ticket to the SEC championship game. That was a huge game. The 2013 game, the year later, any game that had Todd Gurley in it, man, like that was my favorite all-time Georgia player that I've ever seen play. Like any game where I got to watch number 3 take over a game, it sticks out to me. Just really enjoyed watching him play. But that 2013 game where Gurley was fat, out of shape, missing time and stuff with an ankle injury, I think it was. But he came back in that Florida game, ripped off that big run at the beginning of the game for a touchdown. And then to watch him in the fourth quarter of that game, everybody in the stadium knew he was getting the ball. And all Florida had to do was stop number 3 from getting first downs, and they could not do it. And Gurley just tore him apart late in that game and was able to secure the victory for Georgia. Those stick out to me. Why? I'm not sure. That team was special to me for some reason. That 2012, 2013 team, I really liked Darren Murray. Love Todd Gurley, obviously my favorite player. It's a shame. Like what happened in 2012 in heartbreaking fashion to Bama, that freaking sucked, man. Like that was a knife right through the heart. And it really hurt Mark Richt. Like he would have beat Notre Dame in that national championship game. So how it ended for that team, I absolutely hate it. And then the 2013 team, like I thought the 2013 team had so much potential. And it was the injuries and the third down defense from Todd Grantham that destroyed that team. I think at one point we were down like 5 wide receivers, and we were relying on number 27, Rhett McGowan, for the majority of that 2013 season. Heartbreak, man. Like people talk about Georgia fans being spoiled, and yeah, we have gotten a little bit spoiled, and expectations have been raised under Kirby Smart. But the amount of heartbreak that I've witnessed as a Georgia fan from that 2012 team, the 2013 team, 2015 was awful. The 2017 national championship, the 2018 SEC championship, like guys, like we've been through some stuff, like, and that's why I got no sympathy for Auburn fans when they start crying about Kirby Smart clapping for the, calling the timeout and then saying they're clapping. Dude, I have zero sympathy at all for any fan base. Like after what we've been through, I don't care how we win games, controversial calls, penalties, stuff like that. Like, no, bro, none. Like the Justin Simmons being offsides in the SEC championship, in the 2018 SEC championship. We blocked that punt right there. Bama's not coming back in that game. Like, we were at least putting 3 on the board right there. And that game would have been over. But they called him offsides, and he wasn't. Like, that man, there is so many things that I can think of where it's just like, man, like, nah, like, if you play us, like, you got to beat us. Like, some bad calls go against us, some bad calls go against y'all, and it might vary from season to season. You just got to deal with it because Georgia's been on the wrong end of some heartbreaking, absolutely terrible losses that were just crushing for Dog Nation. And we done survived through all that to the point where we thrived in 21 and 22 and 23. And I want to see us get another one, man. So, our rivals losing games to us, man, I got no sympathy for that at all. None. I've seen too much. I've been through too much. I made it through too much heartbreak. So, you got to beat us. Like, you've got to knock Georgia out. Like Kirby said, this team is hard to kill. Like Lane Kiffin said it in his press conference. You've got to go in there and take the game from Georgia. They're not going to give it to you. And that's it. Beat us. I don't want to hear any complaints, dude. Beat us on the field. Games come down to more than just one call or one play. There are so many opportunities throughout a football game. So, anyways, that's enough. Just kind of reminiscing there on past seasons and stuff like that. This is all I think about. I appreciate you guys watching. Like and subscribe. Please subscribe. I don't want to install air conditioners forever. I much rather would do this and talk to you guys about Georgia football. Like and subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment. Hope you guys have a good week. We'll be back to talk some more Georgia football. Love you guys. Go Dogs. Y'all have a good one.